When I first found out that I was going to be shooting my 1-hour special, of course I was very excited, but quickly you realize there's a lot of decisions that have to be made. Like, where do you want to shoot the thing? What do you want the stage to look like? And what are you going to wear? That was killing me. I didn't know what to wear for the special. And I was telling my friend who works in special effects, and he was like, why do you have to choose? And that's why I'm proud to say this is the first ever special shot entirely with a CGI shirt.
I'm Nigel Tierney. I'm the lead animator on Fahim's special. As you can see here, I'm working on a polo right now. We can rotate it and laboriously change colors and things like that.
It's a fairly simple process. I just sit in the makeup chair. The first coat is about 2 hours. My body gets evenly coated with a very special green paint, and then they apply a second coat just to, hit where they missed. And then finally they lock it in. So all in all, it's about a 5-hour process, but the results are great.
Well, he can't really move his arms too much or really rotate his body. It's just too difficult to render.
I mean, this frees me up to focus 100% on the craft, and then we can just punch in whatever shirt we want in post. Sometimes we'll have to do touch-ups if I'm sweating too much of the paint off, but Hannah will just pop out with the blow dryer and touch me up, and then the show's back on.
Apparently I'm the second animator that Fahim reached out to. I mean, the other person just asked why, and I guess I just didn't ask any questions.
Sometimes you'll see an old special or Tonight Show set, and the comic will come out, and you're like, what is he wearing? Like, and it takes you out of the set. Like, you don't even want to listen to their jokes because the clothes are just so outdated, But with this, we'll be able to just update it like that. James Cameron had to wait for technology to catch up to make Avatar. And I feel the same way about this special.
Are you proud of what you've done on this?
It's what he wanted.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Fahim Anwar.
Fahim, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the special.
Thank you so much.
I want to talk about the special itself, but let's talk about that clip that we just watched. When did you get the idea? Because that's not the beginning of the special. That's
that's like just the promo I made for it.
When did you get that idea?
Just because I think there's so many stand-up specials out there now that everyone is kind of doing their own take. Like, it's not enough just to be a guy on stage talking. They're like, how can I up the ante? And I thought it would just be very funny if this, if I was just so delusional, I thought people wanted to tune in because I had a CGI shirt. And just so much work went into this thing that nobody cares about.
Did you want to shoot actual CGI onto your body?
I did. I wanted. It would have been too much money and taken way too much time to actually have a shirt follow me, and it would look really janky.
When you said the stand-up special in the future, I wanted to see what your idea of the futuristic shirt would be on yourself.
Yeah, we cut that out, but I was just talking about how in the year 3025. They could punch in whatever the clothes, maybe it's a weird
space
metallic
latex.
color. Yeah. So it's just timeless comedy because my clothes are up to date.
So your jokes about Uber don't matter at all. It's just that the clothes are up to date.
No, Uber and Lyft will be around in 3,000 years, right?
Sure, there'll be what is it called when you sort of there'll be a teleportation.
Yeah, Uber teleport.
Uber port.
You have to pool it because you're poor in the future. Pool teleport.
So you basically teleport with a group of people and every now and then.
Yeah, just 3 people you don't know, and you're just on your phone.
And it's a big risk to actually do it because the molecules can get confused.
right.
All mixed up.
The teleport takes a millisecond longer because you got to pick up Zlorgbob from the Nebulon 5 galaxy. You're like, I got to get to work. That's the sound it makes.
I got your hand. Damn it. So is this your first special? Excuse me, is this your first big special?
First special. I've done some late night sets before, but this is my first 1 hour special.
Now it's about an hour. So
it's an hour 4 minutes, guys.
An hour and 4 minutes. So this is the greatest hour of comedy that you've sort of been developing.
Scientists, they tested it, and it's the best stand-up comedy special ever. Chappelle was coming out with 2 in March, and I was like, your funeral, bro.
I mean, he saw this, and he's like, ugh, better do 2 because 1 is just not going to be enough.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not really fair. But.
So what's it like to sort of get the chance to do your first special and sort of compile the hour of material that you've had?
It's great, just because as a stand-up, I mean, I've been doing stand-up for 14 years, and and you just have all these jokes. And I've had this hour that I've wanted to kind of get rid of for a while, and then
One way to say it.
get rid of. Yeah, you can tell I'm really passionate about my work. So I'm trying to chuck all this stuff that I don't care about.
Shit out and get it out of there.
No, but like these are precious jokes that I love, and just trying to find a home for them. And Seeso came along, and it was a great opportunity to kind of clear some disk space in my mind and move on. That's kind of it's nice being able to give your material a home.
That's so interesting. Is it difficult to move on as a comedian if you don't sort of like you look at someone like Louis C.K. for lack of a better example, because he's
a great example though, because he puts an hour out a year.
Exactly. So an hour getting it out each time, does that you feel like that sort of clears the head mostly?
I love it. Because the trouble is when I had this hour that I was trying to find a home for, I was having trouble earlier on, and I write material a lot, and as I'm writing new material, I still have to keep these plates spinning to keep them in my mind and the jokes punchy enough and make them resonate with me enough to get laughs. So I can't completely abandon them yet. So it's still occupying this space in my head, this hour of material, and I can't fully move on to new endeavors and new ideas that I have because I still got to keep these things fresh because they don't have a home yet. And once that I've done this hour, now I can just concentrate on everything moving ahead.
So now they have a home. Do you feel open and ready to move ahead, or do you still feel like clinging a little bit?
No, not at all. No, it's so refreshing just to be able to set it aside and know I've done the best I can with this material, and I've given it a home, and I think it's great. And yeah, now it's in a safe place. I can move on with my life and my other comedy stuff.
Let's talk
I found a dog a good home, and now I can. Yeah.
Let's talk about the intro to your comedy special, because it's your first special, and the intro is such a thing for comedians. Oftentimes it's just backstage. I remember one of Mark Maron's was like directed by Joe Swanberg, and I remember watching it and being like, why? It's just him standing backstage. Why does this say directed by Joe Swanberg? What sort of prestige is this adding?
Yeah.
So did you have an idea for what you wanted your intro to be? Did you care about it that much, or did you worry about being too precious with it?
Yeah, there's different ways you can go about the intro. I thought about it. Like I was going to do a sketch up top, and but then we also had this art opening, and then with the runtime of the special, it was just going to make it too long. And I kind of like something about you having no idea, no preconceived notions about the comedian before they come out, and like let your comedy be the first impression instead of maybe a sketch that someone doesn't really like at the beginning of your special. Because if you do a sketch and you think it's funny, but then the audience is like, I'm not really into it. Like they already have an opinion about you before you've even done what you're there to do. You know what I mean?
A sketch is also such a different, it's a bit more risky rather than just a straight up joke. Right, I feel like a sketch, it has like a tone that has to hit, and sometimes it's too dry for people, and it's hard to, I think, do a sketch as an intro that's going to be over the top and crazy, and then go into a guy talking.
Yeah, it'd be like if you're going to go see a Bond movie and Daniel Craig sings a song before the movie.
Are you Daniel Craig in this scenario?
I guess so. It's just it's a different art before the art. Right. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. What was your first time doing stand-up like? What was it? When was it?
First time. It was in high school. It was this comedy night I put together, and I did.
You a big comedy nerd? Were you like obsessed with comedy when you were in high school?
I think so. I mean, I loved SNL and like Simpsons growing up, and so I put on this comedy night where we did sketches and stuff, and then at the end of it, I did 30 minutes of stand-up, which is it's ridiculous. Nobody hits the stage their first time. It's like I got 30 minutes of heat. That these
you have
people,
material at all?
I did. I don't even know
really?
what. Yeah, I had 30 minutes.
No.
I hope this tape doesn't exist. If somebody's watching and you're like, I have this tape, it'll ruin me, please.
So you had 30 minutes that you had written and worked out and sort of
Not worked out, no.
Just
working it out's for amateurs, man. This is gold from my spiral notebook to the stage.
I just imagine if like a 15-year-old kid doing 30 minutes of stand-up, eventually 15 minutes in, he's just going to be doing like Tommy Boy references or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But it worked because they were my friends, and they knew me from school. But if I were to do that at a comedy, it would have been death. Yeah.
So you start doing. Is this like the moment that you do this on stage? Is this like, okay, I want to pursue comedy. I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian.
Well, what happened was, my starting point was SNL. I loved SNL. I'm like, how do people get on this show? And I researched it online, and they came from one of two places. improv, you know, like Groundlings, UCB, Second City.
What was your your generation of SNL? What was at this period? What was the cast?
I grew up with Sandler, Farley, Phil Hartman, you know, Carvey. That's like the soft spot for me. That's when it first came on my radar. And then of course Farrell later on, and it's all great. But
and then I also remember at that time, and just maybe in the years after, those seasons were syndicated to high hell. Like if you had basic cable, you could catch those episodes of SNL with Carvey and those guys on VH1.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I was just catching it on NBC.
Really?
Yeah, just like staying up.
I remember just watching reruns syndicated all the time and just going crazy for it.
Yeah, but I love that show. And then I was like, how do people get on that? And then it was, you know, improv or stand-up. And I researched improv, like, you know, all the schools, like Groundlings, Second City, and then you had to take classes. And I was living in Seattle, and these places were in New York, LA, or Chicago. And so you have to pay money, and you have to advance to the next class. And my parents, I can't tell them I'm going to go to clown college pretty much, and pay money and then stand-up is just you go, it's free, it's by yourself, you don't need other people to do it. It just seemed like a much more tangible thing and tangible path. So I was like, I'll do stand-up.
Was anyone else in your family into comedy? Did they love SNL as well?
My dad was a mime. No, I'm just kidding. No, not really. I mean, my brother enjoys comedy and stuff like that, but nobody else in my family really had artistic inclinations or like huge comedy heads or anything.
Did you have that moment when you were growing up? Because it's a moment that I had where like my parents liked SNL and they liked comedy and movies and stuff like that, but very peripherally, you know? Uh-huh. And then all of a sudden I just couldn't stop consuming the stuff and I loved it. And to them they were like, the hell? Like, no, this is just a thing that's on that we use to laugh at every now and then.
Right.
What are you
like
talking about?
You're taking it too seriously.
Yeah, did you have those moments growing up?
Kind of. I think my parents were always supportive of my artistic endeavors earlier on, like, because I was in drama, I would do little skets, I would make videos, and they were cool with it. But then once I graduated and I was still pursuing these things, that's when, like, the terror set in. Like, oh no.
You're going to do this?
Yeah. That, it was fun while you were in school, but now you got to do real stuff. Like, now they were getting kind of scared.
Now, stand-up, we just had, I think, Todd Barry here a few weeks ago, and he said that he has to perform many times a week because the muscle doesn't feel fresh and like it's being worked out if he doesn't. When in your career did you realize that stand-up was going to be like that? That it wasn't just you could perform once or twice and then keep writing, that it had to be,
it's literally like going to the gym. Like, it's analogous to being a boxer or just working out. If you don't work out for 2-3 weeks, you feel weird. It's taking too much time off it's not good.
When did you notice that, though? When did you figure that out?
I think I just inherently knew that doing it, and just sometimes you would go, maybe I would go a week without performing because something came up, and then when I came back, it's a little clunky. You're like, oh, how does this bit go? Or your timing's a little off. There's something to be said about just being in that rhythm, getting your reps in every week, and because I think the longest I've ever taken off, I was in Europe. And I came back after 3 weeks, and it's weird. Yeah, there's definitely some missteps. That's why I like to try to stay on top of it.
So most of this material that from in this special you've been working on for 14 years, you said.
Well, the thing is, it's not like this hasn't been a literal 14 years has been working for this.
Do any of these jokes appear in your first high school?
No. See, I don't think any of the jokes from this they might exist like between now or from when I did it to maybe 3 or 4 years back. It's not like I'm doing my first joke ever.
When you're 15,
yeah,
you have
I come out and I'm like, knock, knock. You could tell when I wrote that one.
At the moment, it seems for comedians and for comedy in general, it's hard not to talk about politics because things are kind of crazy right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it seems like unless you're devoted to politics, it'd be hard to be confident in jokes or to have material about what's going on. Where do you fall in regards to that? Obviously, this special, you said it's the last 3 or 4 years. It's not necessarily like about what is happening right now. I wouldn't say it's not political just because you talk about your experiences.
I touch on things here or there, yeah.
But for yourself now, walking into a comedy club, working on new material, do you feel comfortable being as political as almost the time calls for?
Yeah, I think my only compass when it comes to comedy is talk about whatever I believe to be funny. And so I won't shy away from it. And like I do have some, jokes now about Trump, but it's not my main focus. Just if something strikes me as funny, I'm like, oh, I'll talk about it that night.
What has struck you as funny?
About Trump?
Yeah.
I mean, I have this joke where I'm like,
What doesn't? It's almost.
you're getting me in trouble. Anytime I say Trump, like the Trump heads will find it on the internet and they'll galvanize and just like come at you. It's scary. Like,
Is that weird? Is it
it's
weird?
weird. Yeah. Like I have a
But
clip on the
fuck
Laugh
'em,
Factory.
right?
I guess, but it's like I kind of hate. It gets connected to my phone, right? Like my YouTube comments. So like before I come out, I'll just read a comment like "fuck you." And I'm like, oh great, now I got to do this interview with no self-esteem.
That was actually that good. No, sorry.
Oh, he's here. Hey, what's up, man?
So you look at comments and they affect
I
you?
stay away from them, but every now and then it'll seep in, and you're like, it's just so funny. Like,
I mean,
you can't even make a joke without just people coming at you.
If someone on Twitter @s you and says something mean about you, and then you see that their profile picture is, like an eagle soaring through a
Right.
flag.
Or
and like the
hashtag MAGA.
Constitution. Yeah, I feel like that's enough to kind of, throw their mean comment away.
Yeah, I mean, I just lump it into one thing. I'm like, I get it. They love this guy. They think that I'm not. This is just a joke. Like, I don't care as much as you seem to care. It was just a throwaway line to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is this? What is the stuff that you find funny right now?
Well, I have this
Because it's
joke.
all funny.
I
but-
do, but just like it's so absurd, the time we're living in right now, and just even saying Trump is my president. I'm like, that's like saying Hulk Hogan is my lawyer.
Is that the joke?
That's the joke. yeah.
Casual delivery, wonderfully casual.
Thank
I didn't
you.
know
Thank you.
doing that.
Just couch it into that's comedy for you.
So were you nervous at all shooting your first special?
No, not really, because it was overdue. Like this is something I could have done a couple of years ago. So it was, I guess, better late than too early, because it was just like, yeah, I've done these jokes, I know them, I've been in the biz for a while. It was just nice. It was more like a celebration than anything.
Were there any specials that you looked at for like prior specials by anybody that you looked at as sort of influences?
I loved Mulaney's. I thought it looked great. His material was great. Yeah, I really liked that one. Yeah, that was the one that stuck out that I liked.
When you were obviously you said SNL and other stuff like that was and The Simpsons, but when did you sort of find stand up in terms of like, oh, that's a stand up comedian and that's really funny and that person changed this for me?
Stand up didn't really come on my radar until later in life. Maybe I was like 16 or 17, and I saw Delirious, Eddie Murphy Delirious, and it just sort of like blew me away. It was so funny, and just I'd never seen anything like it. And
there's so much personality in Delirious. Like so much of Eddie Murphy's stand-up.
The red jumpsuit, leather jumpsuit.
It's just, I mean, obviously there's great jokes, but so much of it is just about like a wild personality. Like he's so out there.
Yeah, so much confidence, such a big stage, and it just really made an impact on me. And then like stand-up kind of became a thing for me after that. So that, I think, in tandem with a path to SNL, I was like, all right.
One of the things that you talk about in your special that I related to is not being able to get past cliches in movies.
Movie cliches?
Movie cliches.
I love movie cliches.
I love them too, but I can't get involved in a movie if I notice a cliche. I'm out.
I had one. I didn't come up with it. I came up with it after the special, but this is my new favorite cliche is like, or it's not really cliche, it's something I noticed. Like if you watch a film from 2005, everything feels like you're in it, like it's happening now. But then they'll pull out their phone, and it's like a Motorola Razr, and you're like, I can't get into this. This isn't believable. Whereas if it was an old-timey movie where they're like, sir, you have a phone call. Like, that never happens anymore. But I can buy into that. It's just close, but too far away.
Right. Or if it's like 1970 and they're on a rotary phone or something, like a landline, you're like, okay, that's
like,
fine.
if it's that far away, you can buy into it. But if it's like...
Like a flip razor with a text that can only read like 3 words at a time.
Then I'm like, I'm out of this. I can't.
I'm always out of movies, or I pull out of movies that take place now where everybody's text messages make noises. You know, there's always like boop, boop, and then they're typing and it's
Right.
Nobody does that. And if they do that, they're insanely rude.
Or it's like grandpa-sized text. Like, see you at the mall. Like, how bad is this 20-year-old's eyes?
They're also like doing it like grandpa. Like,
yeah.
Let's turn it over to the audience for some questions. Who has questions out here?
Hey, Fahim.
Hey, what's up?
What was the photo shoot like for
for
the
this?
poster? Yeah.
That's so cool. We actually, my buddy Bo Roulette, We went out to the desert to shoot this. And yeah, like I wanted to do like a Singing in the Rain in the desert. So like this juxtaposition of old Hollywood and, you know, Singing in the Rain, but the driest place ever. So I just thought it was a nice little visual that works out.
It looks great. You
Thanks.
did a great job.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Next question.
Hey, Fahim. So I read that you were studying to be an aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
And then from there you went into, you know, you...
Stand up.
Yeah. Like, was that your, your plan at first?
I actually worked as an engineer. So I have a degree in mechanical engineering. I went to University of Washington, and then I got a job at Boeing in Long Beach. And I worked there for about 3.5 years before I was able to quit and do stand-up and acting full-time. And that was
Made a mistake because they're bringing all the jobs back to Boeing. He's bringing all the jobs back to Boeing.
I guess so. But yeah, I just, it was the plan all along. It was a very calculated, it's insane. Most people wouldn't get an engineering degree to do stand-up comedy. But to me, it made sense because my parents were going to pay for college. And I was like, let me get out in 4 years. I'll be able to support myself with a solid degree. That's how I got out to Long Beach. I was working at Boeing, and then I was just doing stand-up in LA at night. And I just kept on doing it till I got to the point where I could just do it full-time. It was just peace of mind. Like,
did your Boeing coworkers know you were doing stand-up? Did they ever go out
had
and
no
see
idea,
you?
yeah.
Really?
Because I kept my worlds very separate. And I was like 22, like right out of college when I got the job, and everyone else was around 30 or 35. So there was this digital chasm where not everybody had a MySpace at the time. Right. So, because all somebody had to do was just like, hey, what's your MySpace? And they would know what's up. So nobody ever asked for my MySpace or Googled me or anything. And so I was able to just live separate lives.
That sounds so incredible, that time period where we could live private lives.
I thought you were going to say, what's your MySpace? Yeah, what a time. Remember the fight you would have? Like, why aren't I in your top 8, bro?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? What happened?
I remember the fight, like, why don't you have a MySpace? Or why aren't you on Facebook yet? And you'd be like, I don't want to go on it. And then eventually you'd go on it because just too many people.
Yeah, too many glitter GIFs and just like songs playing when you go there. I kind of miss it. Remember Friendster? I'm just dating myself with all my...
I remember Friendster. I never got into Friendster, but I remember when I was in college, people were starting to use it.
Remember poking each other, guys?
Did you use
Nobody
Friendster?
pokes anymore, huh? Can you poke still? Yeah? One guy's like, yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I saw, too. That's exactly what I saw.
Okay. I never laughed.
That is exactly what I saw when you guys... Yeah. Yeah.
I have a new theory. I think liking someone's really old Instagram photo is the new like. Or the new poke. Sorry, guys. Don't you agree?
100%.
When you go into... Yeah.
If someone likes a bunch of my old Instagram photos, I'm like, you creep. Like,
But too
get
much,
out of
you're
there.
like, are you trying to wear my skin? Like 3 photos, I get it. Like 20? What's wrong with you?
Next question.
Hey, Fahim.
Hey.
So I know you're from an Afghan background.
Yeah,
and,
my parents are from Afghanistan.
I was wondering, like, even though, you know, Islamophobia has been around before Trump, like, how much do you touch on that?
I talk
like,
about it in the special, yeah. There's a nice little chunk dedicated to it. And I like talking about it because I'm not preachy about my stuff and, you know, leading up, I think it's maybe in the, like, 3/4 of my special, like, or the, like, 75% point is when I start talking about political stuff a little bit. And I like that because at the beginning you think, like, oh, I've grown up with a guy like this, he reminds me of my friend or my cousin, no matter what race you are. But my parents are Afghan. I have these experiences to draw from. And it's like hiding the medicine in some jelly where you can deliver some truths that may be too abrasive if you came out the gate with them. So I think it's a way of saying something for white people who don't understand that experience, and it's not overly preachy or like pointing fingers, where you can laugh, think, and have a good time about it. But I definitely am proud of being Afghan, and I like being able to address some of these issues on a larger platform.
First generation, your parents?
I always forget how that works. I was born in America. They were born in Kabul. So
Right, so are you first generation? And
I guess I'm first generation,
Okay,
yeah.
that's how it goes. And how is your whole family processing this new world order that we're facing right now?
It's interesting, like, yeah. I mean, they want to give it a chance and hope it works out. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see,
Yeah. Fahim, I have to let you go. There's no business like show business. It's a wonderful special. When can people see it? When is it going to be on Seeso?
It's out right now.
It's out right now.
On Seeso and Amazon. You can get a Seeso subscription on Amazon as well if you have Prime. And it's great. I'm really happy with it. It came out great. And please check it out.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's absolutely funny. Fahim Anwar, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.